go ahead and get started, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next is a roll call.
Bob Keller.
Here.
Donna Kramer. Here. Linda Metzger's absent. Tim Mills.
Here.
Nathan.
Here.
Ryan Merley. And Sue Wilson. And quorum.
All right, and next we have our good news section with Superintendent Inns.
All right, well, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll wait till Ray scrolls a little bit. Not a lot of good news. Obviously, it's the beginning of the school year, so kind of a short good news time here. But you'll notice that the yearbook staff received silver level distinction in the Joshins National Program of the Yearbook of Excellence. This award recognizes yearbook programs that display excellence in coverage, deadline management, and sales. Again, if anybody out in the community sees any of our yearbook staff taking photos, please congratulate them on their hard work, or if you know who they are, please congratulate them for a job well done. And the next is just a photo of our middle school orientation. It's always a great time to see the sixth graders as they come over from our elementary schools. Middle school staff does a great job of welcoming them and trying to get them accustomed to life as a middle school student. And I guess one last thing is homecoming's coming up. It's not in the good news, but it's coming up shortly, and hope to see as many people out at events and attending things as their schedule allows.
Thanks,
That's
Ted.
it.
All right. Any petitions, delegations?
Yes, we have Hardlake. I'm sorry, Hardlake.
Thank you all for your time. My name is Laura Blake. You might remember I was here at the April meeting along with my son Brady and several other parents and members of the baseball team. We were here asking reconsideration of the decision to not allow Coach Fitzpatrick to continue as our baseball coach while he's the Emerson Elementary principal. We asked for you all to consider an exception possibly for summer sports or to come up with some way to make that happen. With the assistance of the Indianola Independent Advocate, it was discovered the district didn't have a written policy that required Coach Fitz to resign the baseball job if he is a principal. So the thought at that point was, if there was no written policy requiring him to resign, then why was it happening? After April's meeting, we received an email from Superintendent Inns stating that Coach Fitz had agreed to resign as baseball coach when he accepted the principal position. A group of us asked to meet with Superintendent Inns about that, and he refused. What we wanted to find out, and still do not know, is why was the offer of being the permanent elementary principal at Emerson contingent on requiring him to resign as baseball coach? Essentially, why was it decided that ultimatum was required to give to Coach Fitz? It was disappointing, of course, that Superintendent Inns refused to meet with us. Our baseball team and the parents were concerned about the lack of transparency and the unwillingness of Superintendent Inns to provide any information to try and understand why our coach was being taken away. A few baseball parents started an online petition and got nearly 1,200 signatures. It's also my understanding that the superintendent and the school board received many emails and phone calls expressing support for Coach Fitz to continue in both positions. And I would like to mention that the vast majority of these 1,200 people are the same people that worked with the district leaders in the past to help pass the bond issue for building Wilder. We helped save year-round school at Irving and got the vote out to build the new high school. We're the parents that work at the concession stands, feed the sports teams, and raise money for the PTO. And yet, we were not given even 5 minutes of Superintendent Inns' time to discuss such a valued and important position on the administration staff. Because Superintendent Inns refused to meet with us, several parents reached out to board members trying to uncover what issues the superintendent had with Coach Fitz performing both jobs. Here are some of the reasons mentioned to us. And thank you all for those that spoke to me or others in our efforts. Some of the reasons were other 4A schools do not allow administrators to coach, and Superintendent Inns wants Indianola to follow that. Superintendent Inns wants Coach Fitz to be 100% education, no room in that percentage for time to be the baseball coach. The Dean of Students, who also coaches, is on a 210-day contract and a principal is on a 260-day contract. So that is why it's not allowed for a principal. The board and the superintendent heard from a teacher at Emerson that does not think it is a good idea for Coach Fitz to do both positions. I do not know if this was a complete list of concerns, but this is what some school board members were passing along to the parents. As the season went on, we had another great season, by the way. I was hearing that other schools were recruiting Coach Fitz to be their baseball coach, because of course they were. If he quit coaching today, he'd be in the Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame. Of course he's going to be recruited elsewhere. Of course. But we had him, we had the chance to keep him. It's my understanding that our athletic director, who has always been supportive of Coach Fitz doing both jobs and has worked with Coach Fitz very closely for the past several years, became aware of other schools' interest in Coach Fitz and contacted Superintendent Enns to possibly reconsider the decision to not allow Coach Fitz to continue. RAD has always been supportive of Coach Fitz doing both jobs, yet even his recommendation didn't matter. Well, I'm guessing that you guys all know what I'm going to say next. Coach Fitz is coaching at Martinsdale while being the principal in Indianola. So what exactly has been accomplished here? What reservations did our superintendent have that have been relieved by him going 15 miles and coaching there? Why couldn't we keep him here? This makes no sense to me. Bill Watson, who some of you might know is a longtime athletic director for years and years at Urbandale, very well respected. He was at the sub-state game at Urbandale last season watching Coach Fitz outcoach and beat Urbandale to go to state. When Mr. Watson was hired as the new superintendent at Martinsdale, it was no surprise who he wanted to hire as the head baseball coach at Martinsdale. He knew about the controversy here in town, and so it's my understanding he met with Superintendent Enns. Do you think maybe he was trying to clue you in and give you one last chance to redecide this? Because he would realize how stupid it would look for him to continue being principal here, but couldn't coach here, but could be principal here and coach there. What sense can this possibly make? How can you possibly believe this is what's best for our Indianola baseball program? This community and our baseball program and our boys deserve to keep him as our coach, and he deserved to continue as our coach. I'm here today to make sure the school board is aware that Coach Fitz is now the head baseball coach at Martinsdale, and I'm so happy that he was allowed to continue coaching. It's his passion. And I feel I should be asking Superintendent Enns what reservations he had about Coach Fitz continuing to coach in Indianola that have now suddenly disappeared. I plead with the school board members to not defer every personnel decision to the superintendent. The superintendent works for you all, and we lost a very special coach, and it's a travesty. I would especially appreciate an explanation from Superintendent Enns as to how what happened here makes sense to him and how he views this as what is best for the Indianola community and our baseball program. But unfortunately, I won't be holding my breath. Thank you very much for your time.
You want to speak? Or you want to speak now?
I wasn't sure I wanted to speak, but the issue that I'm very much interested in is the matter of the Moms for Freedom and the freedom to tell other people what they can and can't read, and what their children can and cannot read. I was here when a couple of people were handing out Bibles, and at that time I had a rather ancient pair of hearing aids, and now I have very good ones, but I wasn't sure what they were doing. I don't know if you were but I'm constantly on the alert for people who think that they alone have rights, and anybody who disagrees with them doesn't have the same rights. So what I want to do is to be here and stand when I can for those of us who think everybody should have the same rights. And what I would like to know, if someone will inform me about the status of the school district. So what is done and not done with respect to the libraries and the classrooms and the librarians and the teachers and the students and so on. I didn't know what I would encounter today. From time to time, I know that school board's been faced with humongous people, or numbers of people, who take issue with the freedom of all people. And I just wanted to be here in case these speakers for their own point of view were here. So what I would like to really get out of it now, because they didn't seem to show up, is to know exactly what the school board does and doesn't know about the status of the libraries and teachers and students.
We're not able to comment during this time period, during public comment as a board, but we could have somebody reach out to you and maybe give you an update on the legislation that was passed into law for the state of Iowa that we have to abide by.
Yes, well, that, of course, I understand.
Okay.
That legislation, that's it. So, I've seen a bit about that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Rachel Farley?
Hi guys, I'm here, my name is Rachel Farley. I'm here to just basically tell you how much I love being a substitute teacher. I saw that I love reading school board packets, and when I saw that the matrix was up, I just wanted to come and say something. And what I'm going to say is that I love it. I love the relationships. I'm gonna get emotional about it because it's just the best job I've ever had. I have two girls. They are third grade at Emerson, so I started subbing when they were in kindergarten. And the relationships that I get to have with their friends when we're sitting at the table and they're talking about who they played with at recess, I know who they are. Or I can say, you know what, sometimes that friend can struggle with other people, so I understand why you're like wanting to, sorry, that's okay. Let me back up. I can know my girls' friends. I can go to a game and I can see high schoolers, or I can see a kindergartner and ask them, hey, how's your track season going? Or I saw this happen. Or did you have fun camping with those friends that you talked about on Friday that you were really excited to do? So the pay isn't an issue for me. I love that I get to sub in Indianola where my kids are. And so seeing the desire for you guys to have the vote to say, are we going to be competitive with other surrounding districts? I think you say yes, because then you get this, then you get the community, then you get the camaraderie. You don't have people that are saying, you know what, I need that to thrive and to live, so I'm going to drive to Norwalk so that I can get that larger paycheck. Then you don't get them here seeing the things, because what we want for the kids is to have the most amount of people that they can that are gonna support them, that are gonna love them, whether they see them every day, or like me, I see these like high school French students maybe 7 times a year. And I got invited to some graduation parties, I get hugs, I get, like, they like to see me out and about. And that's really 7 times, so their teachers obviously are like their strongest supporters. But it's fantastic. I sub at Emerson a lot. They gave me a staff t-shirt. They let me buy a staff t-shirt because they care and because I'm there, and it's just fantastic. So the opportunity to sub has been one of the greatest joys in my life. It really has. It's been such a gift. And so this is just to say that I know there are numerous amounts of other people that feel the same way that I do. And so that's what I've got to say, that I love having that as a job opportunity. So thanks.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. We just need a motion to approve.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Donna to approve,
Second.
seconded by Sue. Any further discussion by the board on the consent agenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next is, there's no presentations this evening.
We're supposed to have Mr. Swartz. He had a family emergency, so he will come in October.
Okay. Next is district action items under G, go to 1, District A, annual review of district emergency operation plans. That was presented to us in closed session. And motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the emergency operations plans.
Motion made by motion made by Sue to approve, seconded by Mac. Any further discussion by the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next is the information technology incident response plan.
Make a recommendation that we approve the district's information technology incident response plan.
Motion made by Tim,
I'll second.
seconded by Sue. Any further discussion by the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next, under Teaching and Learning Career and Technical Education Advisory Committee, you can see that on page 27 of your board packet. Are any of these people new in it?
I don't know, Jeff Siebersma oversees that,
Oh,
but almost
okay.
all of those I recognize.
Okay.
So that is those committees are required, in a sense, to have a CTE committee by the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm.
And they give an input into the review plans for each one of these areas. They get completely reviewed by the Department of Ed every 5 years.
Mm.
And business will be the one that's reviewed this year.
Okay.
How often do they meet? At a minimum, they were meeting once per year, and then from the feedback from the Department of Ed, they were to increase that, and I think Jeff has them meet twice a year now.
Make a motion to appoint the committee members listed as presented.
Motion made by Mac,
Second.
seconded by Ryan. Any further discussion by the board on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next is to appoint the School Improvement Advisory Committee. And the list is on pages 29 and 30 of your board packet.
Make a motion to approve the 5 members for 2023-24.
Motion made by Sue, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion by the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Moving right along to the Board Human Resources Committee meeting report.
Well, we didn't have a very long meeting, but the main thing we did was this matrix and to talk about increasing the salary for the substitutes in this district. And it's our recommendation that we, it's all, if you guys look at what's being paid other places, and did we decide on 165 or 170? That's what I,
170.
170, yeah, okay. So to pay our subs, because otherwise, like this gal just said, we're gonna lose them to Norwalk because,
Southeast Warren.
yeah, Southeast Warren, yeah, I mean, they're paying, so. That was our main discussion topic, was this matrix, and then I don't, it looks like, my question is for the library, we still get we've always had a sub for the library, if the librarian wasn't in, what's happening with the library?
No changes, right?
It's no change, so it's just the same as it's always been?
Everything, there's a paper here on the table.
Yeah, and I saw that on there, but I was,
Or tagged at the middle school. This has been.
I know I never had a sub in tag, so, yeah.
2014-15 was the first time that this was ever completed through my board, and the only change from that was there's a tag teacher at the middle school who's now teaching math classes. So we would want to have a sub for them. Because they have those. At the
So
library,
anyway.
there's not been a change.
Okay, okay. And then we just talked about the teacher and associate handbook and the trainings for AEA, the mandatory child abuse dependent adult abuse. That was it.
Okay.
This was the main thing, this matrix of the payment. So we wanted to approve, as our committee's recommendation, we approve it. Yes, so I saw this on here, you know, so that's what I.
It's the very next thing. It's right after that.
All right, thank you, Donna. Next is the approval of the 2023-2024 substitute matrix.
I make a motion that we approve the 2023-24 substitute.
Motion made by Sue to approve. Seconded by Donna. Any further discussion by the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next is the Board Facilities Committee meeting report.
Facilities.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah.
Yep. So we talked about the student transportation zones there and the walking zones. We didn't make any changes to those though.
No, we just talked.
had some inquiries from.
More information.
Yep, yeah, there were some inquiries from some parents in regards to their children walking to school and different options that they might have, but we felt it was best to continue to stick to the policies that we've already approved. Next was the high school parking lot. Oh,
Did we do any, so we've been reached out to a lot by some of the high school staff about significant decrease in attendance on cold days by the kids that are in the Lincoln Ridge and 2 complexes because you don't have a lot of transportation and it's in the walking distance, but it's also almost a mile out. Have we ever done any study or research on that, working with some of the at-risk teachers?
Not since I've been here.
Okay, that might be something we want to look at because they have pretty good data on significant declines in attendance during cold when that crew has to walk. And that is we're talking, almost out to Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Almost out to Hillcrest.
It's gonna be over a mile.
Yeah. So that whole group, kind of by that new Phillips Floors on 9th, that is all a walking. They don't get bused, and so some of those folks have transportation barriers already. So it may be worth a conversation with Jeff Brooks and maybe Aaron Luster and Officer Hackett to see if there's any brainstorming we can do to help that before the cold gets here.
yeah, I'm sure it's something we could look into.
Thank you.
I'll share it with Ron and if he comes next month, we can have that as a recap.
Thanks, Sue. Next is the high school parking lots. Yeah. Oh, so we were talking about like, maybe the need to move forward ahead of time with some construction of a high school parking lot. And then also just what that would look like with the high school getting ready to be renovated, where people would park, where students would park, and where the extra parking would end up being. So, right now, we are looking at maybe having, to the west of the current south lot at the high school, towards 9th Street, that lot where the old building used to be, maybe getting that completed early, so that would be an extra lot for kids to park. And then, of course, the lot across the street, right here, where kids could go and park as well, and then walk across the street to go to school.
Was that the plan from the beginning on the project with the parking lot?
They'd
where
had
the
some
extra
different
was?
things, Mac. They'd showed some different things that we weren't ever really wanting to explore, like going across the street of 9th Street there on that gravel lot there. But there's just so many there's so much fast traffic with not lights there, and there's no stop signs there, so kids would have to be darting back and forth there. So we felt, there's middle school kids that walk to and from, high school kids that walk to and from across the highway every single day, all year long. So why not continue to use the traffic lights right there to get the kids
Would
back
we
and forth?
consider any type of crossing guard?
I don't think it's needed. I mean, if these kids do this all year long, every single day,
Okay.
right now.
I've seen about 3 get hit this year already.
3 kids get hit.
Mhm. Just coming this way and going, people coming out, taking a right, and not
Or
even
you
paying
mean cars,
attention.
or you mean kids, pedestrians?
I mean kids.
I've never heard of that happening yet.
Stand out there at about 7, well, you have to be late for school like I normally am. That's why you probably
Okay.
haven't seen it. No, but I would just think that would be something we need to consider. We had an incident just down here on Friday where
Okay.
one of our students got hit
Okay,
while he was on his bike home.
yeah.
Um,
And yeah, I mean, maybe we can visit with the city to see if we
And
can
maybe it's
extend
just-
lights for, crossing.
Or maybe just like the first month, right?
Sure.
So people like
Sure.
understand, okay, wait a minute, this is the new plan this year. We're gonna have
Yeah.
drones and kids walking back and forth. But it's,
If it's underclassmen that are parking there, freshmen and sophomores, they shouldn't be leaving during opens during the day. So they should be there all day long, and the only times they should be crossing is before and after school. If you had juniors and seniors parking there, it is gonna be back and forth all day long, but, so, yeah, you would just be reserved to before and after school if that was the case and stuff, but,
well, and you just, middle school is already chaos at the
Yeah.
beginning of school and the end of school. So you're adding 50, 75, 100 cars to that, right? And
you
so-
are.
So I say that I mean, we plan, like, my kids don't get picked up from school till 3:30.
Is high school let out before middle school, or are they at the same
Yes.
time? High school's before middle
Within
school.
They
that,
have to walk over.
yeah, within that, we've talked about different traffic patterns too, how people will go, because we know that even if you put 100 cars over here, 150 or whatever the case might be, that it's gonna cause more congestion, more traffic flow issues around there. So whenever that final decision is made, there might have to be some changes with, you only come in this way, you exit out that way, you do this, you do that, instead of coming back both ways.
Yeah.
So that this one, coming out of the district lot, going left and then going up to the stoplight, would only be for people in this parking lot. So there's gonna have to be some discussion, and really, probably more than anything else, taking a look at what it looks like after school, and, how do we ease the congestion and really the concern of safety.
And lots of communication.
Yep.
And see any changes that are.
And that's what we've talked about, some of it is, well, we could start some of this in April. Well, that's not a good time to start making changes. So we'd rather start at the beginning of the 24-25 school year than saying, boy, let's try this in April when everybody's anxious to get out and all those other pieces, so.
And Ron is willing to do a shuttle, to begin with, to see if, as they're driving by the curve up here, picking up kids to go across as well. But it would be as his kid, as the kids are getting ready to
Shuttle them across from this parking lot to the high school.
I mean, and it would just be a continuation of their route,
Sure. Sure.
But the other option that that's not shown here is the parking lot back here. That's the next closest one, and that's not a great option.
Where the buses are gonna be coming in and out of.
And that would need a shuttle, obviously, just to timing wise, So that was, the discussion that we talked about, like Rob said, is possibly, we're looking at the architects to move up the parking lot that would be built over where the ag building was. That would help. You still would have people over here though.
Are we at a point where we can get quotes for that now?
That and it's not quotes, it'll be you have to be a bid, yeah, and.
You gotta look and see if like is there underground work that's gonna need to be done? Because we don't wanna pave a new parking lot if there's gonna be underground work.
So that, they are looking at that right now. In a perfect world, that would happen next summer. With, in a perfect world, to be done in time for school to start. Their thought was it probably would be, they didn't know if they could get it done throughout the summer completely. It would have to, kind of dive into the fall a little bit. Also depends on weather. So we'll get more information on that right now. That would help to have all juniors and seniors over in the high school lot. And then you'd have sophomores, and then as freshmen got their license or their permit, they would park over here.
I would almost think it'd be better to have the high school kids over here and to have brand new drivers getting in all this chaos.
Have who?
The 9th graders and 10th graders
Oh.
in the same. I mean, seriously, if you guys are not in middle school pickup, you should do it.
I did it for 3 years.
Yes, but I understand that, but it's I don't know, that would be a huge.
It's chaos, but people have to learn to drive. Like, you can't babysit everybody for the rest of their lives. You gotta.
But you can't control them either.
Wow.
Like, I'm not kidding you, that kid that got hit by a bike on Friday coming home, and it was just, that's a tough corner too, at Casey's. You've got no control, and you've got kids coming across the intersection, you got kids going like this, and you got bikers.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not good.
I just
I
hope
don't
we keep,
know. I mean, I think
we
we'll
hope
keep
we
looking
keep
at it.
talking about
Yeah,
it
we will.
and understand that.
We will. Next was the house and garage for sale. We talked about that, being able to list it on govdeals.com to sell the home that we purchased, so that way we can start getting that lot cleared. We also spoke about solar. Unfortunately, we need to make sure that we have funds available and for the high school project, and to make sure that we're actually making the best decision for a large project like that. And so we're gonna take a step back and wait and just kind of get through the high school project, going into that for a while before we see like, is this really the best location if we do a project like that? We want it to be something that's good, and we want to make sure we're doing the right thing. And just with all the changes happening with the new auxiliary services building, the new high school getting ready, I think we're gonna just pause that. That was the recommendation by the facilities committee until we know for sure how to move forward with that. And then that was it. Any other questions on our facilities committee meeting report? No, Sue, I think you're right. We will continue to look at it and stuff. We want to make sure it's the safest for everybody and stuff, so we don't want that happening and stuff, of course, but we have to just take time. That's the current thoughts and stuff, just as this project
No, I
is
appreciate it.
rolling, right? I mean, we could be beginning the project here, what, April? So it'll be
Bids
coming here
end
pretty
of
soon.
February. Usually it takes some time to get through they do shop drawings, they do contract administration, that type of stuff at first to get it up and going, and then we'll see that.
Okay. Next is the finance committee meeting report. There's a gigantic packet in there for you for the state of the district. So it's very informative, and I think it'd be good for all of you guys to just review it, look at it and stuff. I think it tells you a lot of different trends and things that, some historical data in there for you guys, so.
And comparative with other
Yes,
districts.
yes, yep. I don't really have a lot. Tim, do you have a lot on that? Anything else on that, or Mac?
No, it's good, it's a good product to
Yeah, it's
look
great,
at.
yeah.
It tells the story of our district makeup.
There's a lot of information in there, and some of it is a little sticky to get through if you're not John.
Mostly you're telling me I don't even have a chance.
Just go sit down with her and have her go through it with you, because
I'm
it's,
happy to talk through it if you'd like.
there's a lot of good info in there. And that was the extent of that committee meeting.
Okay. Next is the board policy committee meeting report.
37 pages, right?
Superintendents, Ray, John, Ryan and I all met. We discussed a handful of policies that were up again. Ray was there for the 712 and 712R1, which we briefly went over in our meeting last week. Ray put a lot of effort into going out and finding all of that information in multiple different states to be able to put together a couple of really good policies. IASB had a mediocre policy that he really worked through with a handful of other policies that he'd found. And before those were brought to us, he did have those vetted out by Allers and Cooney. So Ryan and I both, I'm speaking Victoria here, we were both really comfortable with both the 712 and the 712R1. The remaining policies were all reviews, and there was no significant internal changes, just the IASB recommendations on all of those. I'm happy to answer any questions if you've got any.
Excuse me. Okay,
Job, right?
Good job.
yeah.
Yep.
That was a good meeting, right? Very much needed.
So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the policies as presented.
Motion made by Mac. Seconded by Ryan. Any further discussion by the
For
board?
first reading, yes.
Oh, sorry, for first reading.
Yeah.
Any further discussion by the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. I'm just sure. Okay, motion carries 6-0. Okay. Next is the board calendar.
Remember November.
Hold on, can you go back?
But it's at, you know what, it's at 5, we had said 5, is that still okay? I put 5:30 there, but it's,
Great.
The November meeting.
yeah, the November 28th, it's gonna be a long
Sorry,
time
meeting?
from the October 10th meeting. But in that time frame, you'll have the election, and after the election, you really need to install your new board members prior to having another meeting.
So that's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving?
It'd be yes, yeah. It was either the Tuesday before or the Tuesday after, but I believe we discussed a 5 o'clock. Is that still okay? Or should it be 5:30? I put 5:30 here and I think that I made an error. Unless, I went back to my notes and saw 5,
Oh, okay.
but can do whatever.
Was there something on that night?
We were trying to move it up further in time because there was maybe a
Wasn't there a
concert or
concert?
something that evening. That way you guys would have a chance,
Oh, yeah.
if you had kids in that concert to get
That's
there.
right,
Yeah, what is that? Yeah.
memory.
I don't know what it was.
I think there was a
11:28.
concert
I
that
think it's
night.
middle school, because I think it affects Ben and
It is
I.
on the calendar, on the Google Calendar at 5, so again, I apologize.
Which the concert wouldn't be till 7,
Yeah. So
Concert is at 6:30.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was about to say
6:30.
concert's at 6:30.
so we'll just have to keep things going.
Or we just leave to go support those sweet little kids.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Any other, there is one, trying to get a workshop set up, Ted and Jonna and I, sometime in the near future here. Let's see, we're at the 12th, maybe sometime in October, would that be? I don't know, end of September, October for a workshop, just to deal with some things that we need to kind of work through, a few different things. What are you guys thinking would be? We usually try to do them at 5:30
5:30.
on a Tuesday.
Yep.
We could always take a Tuesday that
Yeah, Tuesdays are just,
they're bad.
well, it's volleyball's every Tuesday, so. I mean, you guys
A
can
game,
go on.
a game every Tuesday from here.
Well, it'll take me a minute, but yeah, well, next week's
So if you get
coming.
into October, a little bit later, they're
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
If you wait,
I
yeah,
think
wait till after about the 15th or so,
Okay,
usually we're
okay.
done by then.
it just.
So board meeting's the 10th.
So what if we did the,
Yeah, I can't do the 17th, but you guys can go ahead. I could do the 17th starting at 6:30, but I can't do
what
it
about
starting
the
at
following
5.
Tuesday? Yeah.
The 17th and the 24th is regional volleyball.
Oh, okay. So what about, Brian, can you do a Monday night if you had, you could switch it? What about a Monday night, you guys, instead? Monday, Tim? Okay, what about the Monday, the 16th
Of October.
of October? And I think it would just be the board, John and Ted.
There's no school that day, if that makes a difference.
Yes.
Does that,
It's a PD day.
There's no school 2 days in a row there.
but you guys work that day?
Well, yeah, oh
What
yeah.
about the 23rd?
Okay, I
Can we
guess
go
we
to-
will.
Oh, you weren't?
No,
Will
I'm
you be
just
off?
kidding.
Can we
No,
go
I'm
to-
just kidding.
Rob, can we just go,
I was just joking.
can we just go to the 23rd
23rd?
or the 9th?
The 9th is cross-country home varsity.
What about the 23rd?
23, concert at 7:30, so if we can be done by then,
I don't know.
5. What kind of concert?
high school orchestra.
Anybody in that, have students in that? You would probably just go and see it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we should probably get done by
We
then,
could-
can't we?
I don't think
We're
it
trying to
shouldn't
allow-
take over 2 hours.
No,
If we
let's
start
do
at
it.
5:30, we should be done by
Let's do
We're
6.
gonna start at 5.
It'll make us be done by
Yeah,
then.
start at 5.
Okay. 5.
5 on the 23rd,
Right.
Monday the 23rd.
And today was more of a peace offering for the reason you brought yours, so like is that, I mean, you don't wanna break tradition
I needed to
before.
take a picture. Send it to Beth.
So 10:23, we'll see,
It is now, because it was in the board packet, right?
at 5 PM, right? 5,
Something at that mark.
straight up,
Five.
okay.
4:59.
Work session, and we'll get the agenda, we'll get an agenda together.
Yeah.
And get it out, okay.
Make sure we get all those people invited.
Yeah. We'll work to get contacts for all those people, Jonah, those officers, PTOs, music boosters and athletic boosters.
Then we come to a full board.
We're getting this done.
Are we good on all of the September committees?
Okay.
Board policy is good. We have a guest coming. Katie's gonna come to our meeting that day.
John, we're good for finance? Right?
Anything on the next agenda? Anything under other? Oh, I do have something under other. Ted, I just want to thank you for your leadership and for sticking to your guns sometimes when you have to make hard decisions. So I'm glad you do that.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else under other?
Presentations.
Ellis here for the ICAP.
Shauna, do you have anything under other?
I don't.
You don't? Because it was already brought up,
I already
right?
did it, yeah.
I know.
In the end, you know, next month you'll have the end of June, all the June stuff. I mean, really, it's close to being done right now. There's just a final few things that need to happen before the 15th of September, but then June ends, right? I mean,
Right.
we did July, August, September, really fast, so, but yeah.
It was with much
That's what I want to talk to you about.
sadness we have to accept that.
It's okay.
I actually returned it to sender.
What's that?
I returned it to sender.
Yeah. All right, guys. I just need a
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
motion made by Matt,
I'll second.
seconded by Sue. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are done.
Well done, President.
Thanks, everybody.